What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back to my banner review series for Fire Emblem Heroes. In this series I do an in-depth review on the newly released banner and tell you guys how good the units are on that banner and if that banner is worth summoning on or not. If you already have these units, then I also go over their best inheritance options. So recently we got a New Year's banner featuring Takumi, Camilla and Azura. This banner is going to be lasting for a month, so that's great as you have decent amount of time to pull these units. So let's begin and let's take a look at Azura first. So Azura is a flying singer slash dancer and she's actually the third green dancer after performing arts Azura and Inigo. If you look at her stats, nothing really stands out other than her speed, and her bulk is pretty low as well and her attack is not very high. Compared to other dancers, her res is on the lower side and someone like performing arts Azura does much better offensively and defensively and also has a really good legendary weapon as well. But none of these dancers have what Flying Azura has, which is mobility, access to guidance, sacred seal and flyer buffs. Because New Year Azura is so fast, in a way, it does help her with her longevity as she won't get doubled by as many units, but her defenses are so low that it can lead to a lot of units just one-shotting her in this one-round KO metagame where units often run life and death, fury and stuff like that. Even though she will not get doubled by too many units, she is prone to getting one-shotted. Flying Azura can also receive emblem buffs, which no other dancer can, so you can boost up her offensive and defensive capabilities a lot on a Flyer Emblem team, and she can do more stuff for your team than just singing if you run her on a Flyer Emblem team. Even outside of a Flyer Emblem team, you can use her very well because she can run Guidance, Sacred Seal, and that allows for a lot of movement options for your infantry and armored units that not only helps you teleport units around, but it also lets you bring units near Azura and then Azura can use Sing and attack an enemy unit or just retreat to safety. If you're thinking of using her on your main arena team, then avoid minus HP and minus res IV because she has got a super bane in those two stats, meaning that she gets a -4 instead of -3 to her stat, and that lets her fall below the 150 BSC range, which will also cost you some arena points. Her weapon is Hagoita, which has got Drive Defense 1 and Drive Res 1 built into it, so it's a fantastic weapon for a support unit like a dancer or singer. The buffs from this weapon are spur bonuses, meaning that they can stack up with the visible buffs like Fortified Defense or Fortified Res. For her slot B skills, she has got Earth Dance, which gets completely outclassed by Shigure's Geyser Dance, and it should have been +6 buff or at least +5 because +4 defense is not worth wasting your slot B on. It's not a very good skill, but if you do use it, then it can be combined with the buff of her weapon and she can boost a unit's defense by +6. Her slot C skill is Hone Flyers, which is just an awesome skill on her. Hinoka is not an easy unit to pull and Halloween Novi is gone, and actually on paper, Flying Azura is the easiest Hone Flyer unit to pull in the game so far. Hinoka last appeared on the Bounty Battle banner in November, and in October we had the Halloween banner with Noe. But of course, with Azura, the main problem is getting the green stones in the summoning session. So if you want to make a Flyer Emblem team, then she is definitely worth pulling for. And even outside a Flyer Emblem team, like I said, she will have a lot of utility as a flying singer. For skill items, here are some of the sets which you can run on her. So Fury is pretty much her best slot A skill and helps her a lot by giving her more bulk. And the first set can be run with any IV Azura, and even if you have a minus speed Azura, you can run the first set. If you are using her outside of a Flyer Emblem team, then go with Wings of Mercy and Guidance Sacred Seal. Escape Route can also be run if you do not have Wings of Mercy, but with this set, Wings of Mercy is a better option, and if you run her on a Flyer Emblem team, then of course you should go with Hone Flyers instead with Flyer Formation. For refining, you should always go with Speed Refine on her weapon because it becomes really hard for units to double her, and she also gets a very nice HP buff with it. So Speed Refine is definitely her best refine option, and you can run the second set with any kind of Azura as well, but if you have a minus attack Azura, then I would suggest you to go with the second set instead because you're going to be missing out on some power, and I think that Triangle Adept is better if you end up with a minus attack IV Azura. At least she's able to do well against blue units with Triangle Adept even with minus attack IVs. The third set is for Flyer Emblem teams. Flyer Formation is an excellent skill for her, and it does not have any kind of HP threshold condition like Wings of Mercy, so it is technically better than Wings of Mercy, but the thing is that you need to sacrifice Alencia for it, so if you do not have extra Alencia, then just go with Wings of Mercy. Moonbow is a great special for her because she's not going to be engaging in too many combats, and the low cooldown of it is pretty good because of that, and if she does engage in a combat, and if she doubles the other units, then she will be able to proc Moonbow if against a melee unit in in that round and then get more 1-round KOs. She also has some high investment sets as well. The 4th set is an Emerald Axe set, which lets her act as a Reinhardt chick, and even an unmerged Azura can run this and check a Horse Emblem plus 10 merged Reinhardt. Hell, even a minus res IV Azura can run this and still check Reinhardt. She can also run this set with her default weapon, but she will need a res refine to survive Reinhardt. But Emerald Axe also gives her the extra damage against blue units, so that's better as she can improve her matchup against those blue units, and in the process, you can also save some refining stones as you do not have to refine Emerald Axe. Escape route for slot B works because if she's going to be getting hit by Reinhardt, then she's definitely going to be entering the escape route range, and escape route is good with these kinds of sets which work on baiting enemies. The 5th set is a more offensive set with Sling Axe Plus and Luna. It is more suited for a Flyer Emblem team. Azura can get Flyer Emblem buffs, and because of that, she can be a pretty decent offensive unit. The 6th and the final set allows Azura to not only give your team Sting utility, but also smash armored units for your team. Armored units are pretty common in tier 20 arena, and if you have some highly merged units on your team with Azura, then you're definitely going to be facing some armored units. So with Sling Hammer Plus and Attack Refine, she can 1-round KO plus 10 merge Hectors, Effie, and Winter Tharja, and damage other common armored units extremely hard to the point where they can easily be picked off by an ally. Armor Smasher Sword Olivia is already a thing which you see in tier 20 arena, so it's pretty much the same thing but for Azura. Nullify Armor Refine does not do too much for her because most Armor Emblem teams utilize the ward buffs, so going with Attack Refine is better, I think. So those were her Skeletons options, and overall Azura is a really insane unit due to being a flying singer and the best unit from this banner because of that. Now let's move on to Camilla. She's a sword flyer this time, and she's a pretty balanced unit. She's got good base attack, high speed and defense, and decent HP stat. She just has a below average res. She is also the first flyer with inflated BST. Usually flyers have BST up to 158, but she's got 162 BST, which is a trend that we have been seeing with these new units recently. Camilla is a good middle ground unit compared to Alencia and Pala. Camilla has good offenses similar to Alencia and has good defenses like Pala. She of course does not have a legendary sword like Alencia, but Camilla does outclass Pala as a unit because she has got better attack speed and higher defense. Pala has got slightly higher res and HP, and she also has availability, which is a huge thing. Pala is the easily available red flyer because she can appear as a 3-star and a 4-star unit, so it's easier to build her up and have more merges on her over time as a free-to-play player, and it's not really possible to do that with newer Camilla unless you get really lucky or you're just a whale. Due to Camilla's stats, she is a very versatile unit to build. Her weapon works similarly to Azura's, and her special is Draconic Aura, which is not really her best special, but still it works decently for a budget set. Her slot skill is Speed Defense Bond, which gives her plus 5 speed and plus 5 defense if she's near an ally. Using this, Camilla can reach 40 speed and 36 defense unboosted, which is pretty impressive. It works out pretty well for her actually, and it's a great default skill for her. And if you get extra Camillas, then here are some of the units who can make good use of this skill. Speed Defense Bond can be used on these kinds of speedy tanks, and the speed from this skill does help them in not getting double, which does increase their longevity. Halloween Henry can run this with a Raven Tome set instead of running Triangle at Depth, and with this he can check a plus and merge Brave Lyn, and he's not really threatened by Cancel Affinity Archers if you run this skill. Tana with her Vidofner enemy phase skill set can also run this skill, and with this skill, Vidofner and Close Defense Sacred Seal, she can reach 43 defense, which is quite a lot. You can of course run something like Wings of Mercy or Escape Route for slot B, as it does synergize well with these bond skills, but Quick Riposte ensures more 1-round KOs for these tanks. You can also build up a plus speed Karin with this skill and make her into a very high defense and speedy tank with a refined Dark Breath, and healers can also inherit this skill. So let's go back to Camilla. So she's got Ward Flyer skill as her slot C skill, and she's the only unit after Minerva who's got the skill, and with her weapon and this skill, she can give plus 6 defense and plus 6 res buff to a flying unit near her, which is essentially a 4-5 flyer buff but in the form of spurs, and it cannot get panic ployed, so it's pretty good. For Skeletons, here are some of the options. The first set is a budget set that can be run on any kind of IV Camilla, and it can even be run on a minus attack Camilla if you have that. Swordbreaker allows her to double these faster sword units like Ira and Mia, who are pretty common in arena, and if you have a minus speed Camilla, then definitely go with the second set and run Quick Riposte for more doubles and pretty much make her into a more enemy phase unit. The third set is also a pretty nice budget set, but with Wings of Mercy. You want to pair up this set with some Vantage builds or some units who run stuff like Fury. Wings of Mercy allows Camilla to teleport, and if she's gonna be teleporting, then she's always gonna be having the speed defense bond buff, which is really great. She is also a flyer who can utilize Iot Shield to tank hits from archers due to her high defense stats, so it's definitely a sacred seal that you can run on her. You can also run Draconic Aura with these sets, but Bonfire overall is a better special in terms of damage output. If you're gonna be using her with her default weapon, then the best refine to go with it is either defense or speed, which does add up with her speed defense bond. Go with defense refine if you want her to be more enemy phase oriented, and go with speed refine if you want her to be more offensively oriented. So these were some of the budget sets, and she also has some high investment sets. The fourth set is a Fire Sweep Sword set, which is pretty much her best weapon due to her high speed. It of course works best with a plus speed IV Camilla. With flyer buffs or Hone Attack buff, she can easily utilize Heavy Blade Sacred Seal and use Gale Force effectively. You don't really want to run Life and Death on her unless you have got a minus defense IV, because it ruins her bulk. Now even though bulk does not matter for Fire Sweep builds because they are sitting ducks in the enemy phase, it's still a pretty nice thing to have if she's accidentally left in the range of opponent, and she can easily tank the hit and survive. Seeing as Bunny Lucina was recently on the Legendary Hero Summon banner, I'm sure some people might have some extra Lucinas to spare for Swift Sparrow, so do run Swift Sparrow if possible. The fifth set is pretty much the same set, but with Brave Sword, so she can run a quad attacking set as well with a Brave Sword. And the sixth set is for the people who were lucky enough to get a plus attack Camilla, but at the same time were unlucky to get a minus speed IV on her as well. So you can just run Death Blow and Brave Sword on her and still do a lot of work with her. And she's not going to be able to quad attack too many units with just 33 speed, so that's why we can just go with Death Blow, which is a cheaper option. Her seventh set is a Speed Refined Woda Plus set, and this set can be run on pretty much any IV Camilla other than minus speed IV 1. With Fury, Camilla stats can be pretty well rounded and helps her a lot in reaching the Desperation range. This set can also be run with a Speed Refined Sling Edge Plus and Bonfire Special. Set number 8 is an enemy phase Camilla set, which works best with a plus defense IV Camilla. With this set, Camilla can reach 49 defense, which is pretty insane, and always proc Bonfire in a melee combat in the enemy phase. The ninth and the final set works best with plus res IV Camilla, so she can run a standard distant counter set. And the reason why I say it works best with a plus res Camilla is because she actually has a super boon in res, so she gets plus 4 res with plus res IV, and with a refined sling edge plus, she can reach 31 res, which is pretty respectable for a distant counter unit. So those were all of her skill intense options. Overall, Camilla is a very versatile unit and a solid flying unit actually, and definitely the second best red flyer after Elincia. Now let's move on to Takumi, the final unit from this banner. So he's a dagger unit this time, and he has a fantastic offensive spread of 34 base attack and 34 base speed, while having decent HP stat and slightly above average resistance. However, his defense is absolutely pathetic. His weapon is Kagami Mochi, which is like a slaying dagger, and after combat, if Takumi hit the target, then it inflicts -7 defense and -7 res on the target and 2 spaces around the target. It has got 12 might, which is more than a pre-refined silver dagger, which is incredible. It is pretty much the best dagger if you're not counting weapon refinery, but unfortunately, it's on a seasonal unit, so it's gonna be very hard to get. A lot of dagger units can actually make amazing use of this dagger if you pull multiple Takumis. Units like Saizo, Matthew, and Felicia, who mainly depend on their special to do damage, can run this dagger. And units like Matthew and Felicia especially have got pretty low base attack, and they can benefit a lot from its high might, and the fact that their special gets a -1 cooldown, so it's really good for them. And it can also be used on offensive units like Kagero. Poison Dagger has a very low might, and she cannot do much against units who are not infantry, and if she runs Kagami Mochi, then she can utilize her 35 base attack pretty well with a 2-turn cooldown Luna and do much more damage to units she previously couldn't do much with Poison Dagger. Kagero also has better availability than seasonal Takumi, so someone who really likes dagger units could definitely invest into her. And Hone Attack has good synergy with Kagami Mochi because of its -7 defense and -7 res debuff. So let's go back to Takumi. With his weapon, he can have 1 turn cooldown moonbows, which is great. His slotted skill is Attack Res Bond, which allows him to tank mages with his decent magical bulk. And he also has Bow Breaker as his slot B skill, and because of his pathetic defense, he cannot really use the skill very well and bait archers in the enemy phase, and considering a lot of archers run Brave Bow, he would be knocked out before he could damage them. Bowbreaker is only really helpful in the player phase, doubling other archers, but a lot of common nuking archers like Brave Lyn are easy to take out as it is in the player phase, so this skill does not do too much. The main problem is tanking them in the enemy phase, which he cannot really do too well. And overall, I think that Takumi is the best dagger unit in the game. His nicely min-max stat spread is amazing, and his Kagami Mochi is an incredible dagger. Now, dagger units are certainly starting to get better in recent few months and are becoming more and more viable, which is good. For skill intents, here are some of the budget sets. The first 2 sets can be run with any kind of IV Takumi, and even if you have got minus attack or minus speed IV Takumi, then you can run the first 2 sets. The first set is geared more towards checking a plus 10 merge Reinhardt. Even a minus attack Takumi with the first set can 1-round KO a plus 10 merge Reinhardt. And if you do not care about Reinhardt, then you can just go with the second set, which has got quick repose, which is definitely a very good thing for a minus speed Takumi if you have that, and you can essentially make him a made check. With both of these sets, you want to go with Res Refine on his weapon. The third set is an offensive set with Fury and Desperation. When Takumi is in the Desperation range, and if he can double the enemy, then he will proc Moonbow on his second hit, getting a lot of 1-round KOs. And with this set, you want to go with Speed Refine on his weapon, as he gets +2 speed, which is quite good and helpful in doubling more units. You can also run Life and Death or Swift Sparrow if you want to maximize his offensive potential, but Fury works fine with his decent magical bulk and also helps him reach the Desperation range much easily. So now I will give you guys my final verdict on this banner. I think that if you're a free-to-play player, then you should definitely try to summon on this banner and try to get Azura, especially now since we have got good amount of orbs from the New Year maps. She's an amazing unit and a very unique at that. And you can skip Camilla if you already have someone like Alencia or a fully built Pala. And if you're not really interested into dagger units, then you can also skip Takumi as well. If you do not have a Fire Emblem team, then pulling for Azura to make one would be a really good thing to do right now. Similarly, if you never pulled Alencia and want a Red Sword Flyer, then Camilla would be worth pulling. But here's the thing, do not blow out all of your orbs at once on this banner, because this banner is going to be lasting for a month. So you can always wait till the last week and see what other banners we have got and then decide. Till the end of this month, we will have another Legendary Hero Summon banner featuring summer seasonal units most likely. So if that's what you're interested into, then definitely wait till the last week of this month before pulling on this banner too extensively. Another reason to wait might be if you're interested into a Dawn Brigade or a Thracia 776 banner, as they are long overdue now and they might want to get them out before the first anniversary of this game. So there's some possibility of that, so do consider it. So that is gonna be it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my in-depth review. If you did, then please be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, then make sure to subscribe so that you do not miss out on more Fire Emblem Heroes content, which I'm gonna be uploading in future. So with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.